A crazy shooting in Fermanagh in Northern Ireland yesterday. It feels like the crime is just going out of control in Ireland in the last few years, guys. This is insane. 3 people, including 2 children, were shot dead, confirmed yesterday in County Fermanagh. Now, of course, Northern Ireland isn't the Republic, guys. It is a slightly different area with different people, but I'm not sure if this is gang related. Let's actually listen to the police, the PSNI, the Northern Irish Police, about this one.
Medical efforts. 2 people were pronounced dead at the scene. Sadly, I can confirm that a 3rd person has this afternoon passed away in hospital. A 4th person who was taken to hospital remains in condition described as serious. All 4 had sustained gunshot wounds, and I can confirm that all 4 individuals are from the same household. I'm keen to, first and foremost, express my sympathy to the family members and loved ones who are today left in total shock and who will inevitably be struggling to come to terms with their unimaginable loss. Detectives have now commenced a murder investigation and are working at pace to determine the circumstances. This is a quiet, rural location, and I'm aware that this tragic event will have sent shockwaves of sadness throughout the community. Please be assured that you will see a continued police presence in the area as we continue to carry out our inquiries. Our inquiries are at an early stage, and I would appeal for patience as we work to understand the events that have taken place. Please be assured that we will continue to bring you updates as our investigation continues. The suspect has a limited footprint with police. Yeah, at this stage of the investigation, obviously again say it's an early stage, but that would be one line of inquiry, yeah.
Can you confirm the surviving person is an adult or a child?
The surviving person is an adult.
Male?
Yes. There's a limited domestic history involving the people concerned, and that is certainly one line of inquiry that the detectives will take forward.
So, not much information there, but a full family, he said at the beginning, from a full family they were shot, and all of them shot dead apart from 1 male. That is insane, guys. It must be something to do with like gang related things, not sure exactly what's happening there. We know, like I said, Northern Ireland is very different. They have a lot of like gang activity, the same as the Republic, drug activity. But to hear something like that is just absolutely crazy. But back to Dublin, guys. Like I always say in my videos, another day, another stabbing. So I reported on today's video a few hours ago, there was a stabbing at the ILAC Centre in Dublin. Well, today we have another stabbing at the Abbey Street in Dublin. So let's listen and watch this video.
The lane closed off, the police are down the other end. Obviously, someone serious said we're going on. They're going through the bins and all there. You can see the bins there. Yeah? There's the cops down the other end of it as well. It's not sealed off, but they just have a...
Crazy. Crazy that there's like, in the middle of broad daylight, it seems, down some back alleyway in Dublin, there's just another stabbing, guys. Like, it's just absolutely crazy. It feels like I said before in these videos, feels like every single day, there is a stabbing in Ireland, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. What's the cause of it? I don't want to just name one thing entirely, but there are obviously certain things that are causing this. There's a lot of gangland violence. There's also a lot of people that are losing a lot of money, over the last few years from the lockdowns. People have lost jobs. There's also people coming in from different countries as well to add to our own violence. It's just ludicrous. This video here popped up, and it was one of the craziest news articles I've ever seen. So this is from the Journal, or the Urinal, as people call it in Ireland, okay? It says, thousands of controversial Chinese surveillance cameras installed in public places across Ireland, okay? So they're Chinese surveillance cameras, and they're being placed across Ireland. Like, this is the start, guys. We are going to have basically the same system as the UK, as in China. This sort of credit scores. You can't go to the supermarket without having a good credit score. You can't take out a loan without having a good credit score. If you, go a little bit, 2 kilometers over the speed limit, you're going to get hit with a €300 fine or €1,000 fine. This is now becoming the 1984, the Animal Farm. This is going to become the George Orwellian state that he talked about, guys. So it says, the Journal investigates, reveals Hikvision is used by councils, hospitals, and universities despite bans in other countries. So these these actual camera lenses, this camera is banned in other countries. Okay, it says, banned from sensitive government sites in the UK, United States, and Australia, the journalist investigates can reveal how the Chinese surveillance giant's equipment is in widespread use across Ireland. First of all, I wouldn't be using any Chinese products in Ireland, okay? They are at war with the USA, guys, like straight up. Like, we are at war with the US, with the Chinese state, okay? The Western world, Europe, America, North America, and Australia. So I wouldn't be using any Chinese anything, okay, personally. That includes over 700 cameras installed by councils. They record footage in swimming pools, courthouses, and even a brand new Civil Defence HQ unveiled in County Cavan last year. This is scary stuff, guys. Despite multiple warnings from security experts over the use of the equipment, no action has been taken by the government to either remove the devices or issue security advice over their use. So yeah, security experts are telling them, okay, do not use these products. I said this a few weeks ago. In Ireland, we have a massive security risk. Okay, there's huge security risk. There's open borders. There's now cameras being used. Nobody knows anybody. There's no background checks. There is a massive security risk in Ireland. Okay, we're like an open threat, guys. Experts warn about the current use of these cameras posed by Hikvision, raises urgent questions about data privacy, potential foreign access, and the state's alignment with international partners. Oh my God. So theoretically, they will be able to use these cameras in China because their potential foreign access, and also they'll be able to access our secret and private data. That is just crazy, guys. When it comes to things like security cameras, I think it would be naive to wave that aside, that at not the very least an in-depth conversation about the potential security risks. Dr. Edward Burke, a UCD assistant professor of war, told us. So big guy told us this, guys. The EU has constantly warned member states to try and firewall critical national infrastructure from companies threatening the European Union with mass espionage. Okay, and of one of those countries that they have identified is, of course, China. We know that China is surveilling the US, the UK, Ireland, everywhere in the world. Okay, they're a huge surveillance country, guys. So concerns of Hikvision surveillance technology of Irish government buildings were first raised in 2019, guys. Okay. However, it wasn't until late 2020 when other countries such as the UK banned these devices from sensitive government sites because the public focus shifted to Ireland's use of security cameras. But yeah, guys, the UK and Ireland are still, very similar in terms of security, and it would be crazy to think that the Chinese government are not hacking in and using this. This is why I don't use TikTok, guys. Okay, whenever you sign up for TikTok, it basically allows you to take all your sensitive and private data. It's just crazy, guys. I don't understand how people are allowing this to happen. Okay, so a letter sent to the House of Oireachtas Commission, the Irish Council for Civil Liberties, called for removal of all Hikvision devices from government buildings. Okay, and hopefully that is done quickly, guys, because these are not only a threat for the government of Ireland, but also for the people, guys. Taking our sensitive data, selling it to different companies, selling it to flipping spies. This is only going to end badly. So hopefully, the department or whoever contributed this stuff is going to be getting rid of them. Okay, hopefully. We can only pray, guys. Okay, because we know how fast acting our government is. So this is one of the last videos I wanted to show, and this is basically about the same sort of anti-Semitic country and sort of the perception of Ireland as an anti-Semitic country in the US and just in general, guys. So obviously, Ireland is a big supporter of a certain country in the Middle East because there's obviously war crimes committed, of course, and this kind of thing. But now it's almost seemed that it's gone a bit far, okay? Especially with the Occupied Territories Bill, things like that, okay? These sort of bills are just taking away from the fact that Ireland should be, focused on helping the Irish people and not focused on other countries. My channel, like I said before, Ireland first, guys, always. Never any other country first, okay? We put the own Irish people first, always. We don't have any sort of commitments to other countries in the Middle East or US or any other place in the world, guys. We should be taking care of our own first. So let's listen to what this guy, Larry Donnelly, says.
reaction to the Occupied Territories Bill. High-profile pieces being placed in The Hill, which is read by every Washington, D.C. insider. A high-profile piece being placed in the Wall Street Journal, which is the Bible of Wall Street and the financial capital of the world. And then subsequent follow-on contributions from a variety of United States congresspeople who are leaders, who are not toothless tigers. And as I've said in many outlets before, the sad reality here is that IPAC and its allies in the United States have successfully been able to conflate opposition to the Israeli state with anti-Semitism. And the perception of Ireland as an anti-Semitic country is hugely on the rise in the United States. There is no doubt about it. Every time I am home, I am confronted with that narrative, which
100%. And it's almost like this is what it's become now. And, you know, the Irish government and stuff are playing with fire here. You know, what if all these big corporations pulled out of Ireland? What if these big multinational American corporations pulled out of Ireland? Could you imagine, guys? We'd be plunged back into the Stone Age. You know, in some ways that would be kind of good because, you know, we'd actually kind of wake up and be more patriotic and nationalistic in Ireland. But in other ways, nobody would have food, guys. There'd probably be no bread on the shelves. You know, it would just plunge the country into flipping just horrendous, okay? With all the pharmaceutical companies, etc., etc., etc. So bad way to look at things, guys. Now it's seeming like we're pissing off all these other countries that have a lot of power. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. These countries have power, and now we're pissing them all off in this country. For what reason, guys? What is our, you know, what is our dog in this race, guys? I just don't get it. You know, you're supporting one country over there. Support your own country, guys. You should be waving an Irish flag, not any other flag. Come on, guys. And I understand you guys can go back and watch my old videos. I always have to say this and see what the deal is. But, guys, let's start focusing on Ireland first, man. None of these other countries, including that one, okay?
of course, I totally reject. I'm totally appalled by everything that is happening on a day-to-day basis. It is revolting at every level. That having been said, I don't understand. I think people here don't understand what we're dealing with and what we're up against.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's huge, guys. Like, a lot of these things could be finished overnight if we were not, you know, playing the same game as you know, the US and these other countries in the Middle East, guys. I mean, you could really shoot ourselves in the foot, so to speak. So today we got the last video we have is from J.K. London, okay, an American lady. I think she's Irish actually as well. She lives in Ireland. And she just said, we just got a reply back from our News Talk complaint. We will be exposing how biased they are on a podcast soon. I've said this for years, guys. You know, News Talk, Joe.ie, RTE, you know, they're all from the same branch. They're all just bias and, you know, propaganda, brainwashing media. So, you know, I wouldn't listen to a word they said. But it says here, it's full of misrepresentations. Here we have, of course, the man himself, Kieran Cuckoldry, talking about J.K. London, the whistleblower, okay, about the horrendous things that are being taught to kids in schools, you know, the gay kind of thing, you know, the trans agenda, like these sort of agendas that are being pushed on kids in our schools. You know, they had a drag time story hour, like just ridiculous, where grown men, you know, 6'4" men, you know, dress up in, you know, women's outfits and then tell stories to kids. Like, and a guy actually went to prison for 3 months recently because he broke into it, tried to stop it. You know, these are horrendous things. These are the narratives they're trying to push on the children now.
A lot of parents out there, parents of students in school, will have seen this video because it's doing the rounds online on social media, but it's also doing the rounds in WhatsApp groups. And it's of a former teacher. I'm not even going to say her name because I don't want to direct people towards the video and get them watching or whatever. But the implication of a much longer video is that, you know, really extreme content going to be taught to kids in schools by this person claiming to be kind of a whistleblower.
100%, and she's a patriot and a hero for that. So good job, J.K. London, okay, for exposing this nonsense.
Wherein lies the truth, Minister?
I want to be really clear. Much of what's being presented, it's just full of misrepresentations. The course that's been referred to there is a course that was run for adults. The materials provided were for adult discussion. And I want to be really, really clear. No graphic or explicit material is ever shown in a classroom setting. I want to be really, really clear about that.
Well, I certainly hope so. But these books, guys, you know, you can just walk into Eason's or whatever your local, you know, bookshop is in flipping, you know, your city in Ireland, any Dublin, Cork, you know, Donegal, you can just walk into your local shop and see these books in sort of the young adult section. You know, this is from 12 to 18 years old, where they're sexually explicit and this kind of thing, teaching, you know, sort of sexual acts to younger people. It's very weird, guys. You know, the Romans had a great saying, you know, it's like, you know, the longer you can keep the innocence of a kid or of a child is how progressive a nation is, okay? How great a nation is. If you can keep that innocence for as long as possible, that's great. If you kind of expose them to harmful things very, very young age, it's awful. It actually can destroy their mental health, their physical health, and a host of other things.
And that's been entirely misrepresented here. And, you know, I got quite a number of emails about this, and I've got some from those who have done this course. And one in particular stands out. It was from a teacher who actually did the course, and she was so upset and offended by the manner in which this was being presented. She was really, really clear that any materials or resources, many of them coming from other countries, were for the purpose of discussion amongst adults. She was equally clear that there was an absolute underpinning here that no graphic material of that nature, no explicit material of that nature would ever be shown in class. And I suppose really, what are we trying to achieve with the RSE SPHE programme? We really want young people to understand important issues like consent. We want them to understand respect for themselves, respect for others, respect in relationships. We want young people to understand the risks and the distortion of pornography. Ultimately, we want young people to be safe in the world in which they live today. And
I think she's being disingenuous and representing misinformations. Because, truth be told, I watched that video. I did a full reaction to the Women's Council talking about that. And it was horrendous, guys. You know, it was talking about different sexual acts and all this kind of stuff that they could teach the kids. It may not be shown directly to students in school, you know, 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds, whatever. But it's taught to the teachers of secondary school and primary school kids to actually teach it to the kids. So it may not be directly taught to them, but it's indirectly. Okay, so it's still just as bad, okay? It's like if you don't murder someone, okay, if you're an accomplice to murder, you're just as bad, guys.
We are supporting teachers that they will feel confident to be able to address any questions that come up from students.
What?
But underpinning it all is that it is age and stage appropriate, and under no circumstances will the graphic material that has been referenced there be shown in any class. And I would say to people, you know your teachers, you know your staff, you trust their professionalism. And, you know, I am shocked to think that there would be any view that graphic material of any nature would be shown in that type of a class, or indeed in any other class at all.
Well, I mean, it's plain and simple there to see, guys. Like, you know,
Parents, it's
J.K. London, she talked about it. It is what it is. You know, this was a full YouTube video. It went mega viral. I think it got like 600,000 views. It's just crazy because people were so concerned about this SPHE. SPHE, you know, should be like, what is it? Sexual, physical health education. And it should be somewhat like, you know, nuanced and very sort of reduced, you know, in the sort of explicit way it's taught. But now they're giving this material to teachers. It may not be given to kids. And some of it was, okay? Some of it was. I'm not exactly sure about everything. That was like last year, 2024. But it's not that it's given to all these kids or students, but it definitely is given to the teachers to teach it, which is horrendous, guys. It's just the exact same thing. So, yeah, absolutely awful. Let me know your thoughts on that. If you want to help support me push back against the mainstream media, hit the join link underneath the video. We have 13 members now. Okay, I'm going to be doing some member-only videos very soon. So stay tuned for those. Share this with everybody. Share this in your WhatsApp groups. Okay, like, comment, subscribe. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.